There are few names in the automotive world that evoke the same level of reverence and admiration as Aston Martin. For decades, this storied British marque has blended performance, luxury, and undeniable charisma into rolling works of art. But among its many creations, the 1977 Aston Martin V8 Vantage stands out not just for its beauty but for its attitude. This wasn't just a gentleman's GT, it was a street brawler in a Savile Row suit. A car that dared to challenge the mightiest of the supercars, often with more punch than polish, and with a distinctively British sense of defiance. The 1970s were not an easy decade for performance cars. Strangled by emissions regulations, burdened by rising insurance premiums, and faced with a shifting cultural landscape, many automakers were dialing back. Aston Martin, however, was not about to surrender to the malaise. The V8 Vantage was its riposte. At a glance, it looked like a refinement of the already beautiful DBS V8. Muscular, low-slung, and unmistakably potent. But underneath the familiar skin, the V8 Vantage packed enough firepower to make the Ferrari Daytona sweat. Powered by a 5.3-liter V8 engine breathing through high-performance carburetors, the Vantage produced an impressive 375 horsepower, though some estimates suggest it was closer to 400. This made it the fastest four-seater in the world at the time, capable of 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds, a supercar figure in an era when many sports cars were struggling to crack 7. It was raw, loud, and brutishly quick, but also surprisingly composed. Where Italian exotics often demanded sacrifices in comfort and usability, the Vantage offered leather-lined civility without muting the thrills. Every inch of the car spoke of bespoke craftsmanship. The hand-built nature of the V8 Vantage meant that no two were precisely the same. From the stitching on the seats to the tuning of the suspension, each Vantage carried the fingerprints of the craftsman who assembled it. The bodywork was a study in understated aggression, a deeper front air dam, twin driving lamps nestled in the grille, and a discreet rear spoiler added aerodynamic stability without compromising elegance. But the real drama was in the drive. The V8 engine roared to life with a guttural bellow, sending shivers through the cabin. The heavy clutch and precise gearbox demanded involvement. There was no room for casual drivers here. The Vantage was a machine that asked for skill and rewarded it with sublime feedback. It gripped with authority, cornered with poise, and accelerated with an urgency that belied its size. Yet, unlike its Italian rivals, it could just as easily cruise down a country lane in quiet comfort. Only 534 examples of the original 1977 V8 Vantage were built, adding a layer of exclusivity that collectors crave. It was a car that refused to compromise, a symbol of Aston Martin's resilience and its unwillingness to follow trends. The Vantage wasn't about mass production or appeasing markets, it was about building the best, most powerful GT car in the world, and doing it on their own terms. In the years since, the 1977 V8 Vantage has earned a special place in the pantheon of classic cars. Its aggressive styling, thunderous performance, and British charm make it one of the most desirable cars of its era. And perhaps more importantly, it marked the birth of the Vantage name as something more than just a trim level. It became a statement. A declaration that Aston Martin was still in the fight, still building cars with passion and purpose. To drive a 1977 V8 Vantage today is to step back into an era where analog connection mattered more than electronic intervention. There are no driving modes, no traction control, no digital displays. Just the sound of the engine, the feel of the road, and the rush of wind as the speedometer climbs. It is, in every sense, a driver's car. And in a world increasingly defined by automation and isolation, that purity is more valuable than ever. Collectors and enthusiasts today are willing to pay a premium for such authenticity. Prices for the 1977 V8 Vantage have steadily climbed, reflecting its status as a true automotive icon. But beyond the dollars and cents, it is the story of the car that captivates, a car built by a small, passionate team, designed to defy the odds, and capable of stirring the soul every time it fires up. The legacy of the 1977 V8 Vantage lives on in modern Aston Martins, from the latest Vantages to the DBS Superleggera. The DNA, a blend of power, luxury, and British grit, remains intact. But the original V8 Vantage holds a singular charm, a purity of purpose that even the most advanced technology can't replicate. It reminds us that sometimes, raw power and handcrafted elegance are all you need to make a lasting impression. The V8 Vantage was also a milestone for Aston Martin in motorsport. Although primarily a road-going car, the Vantage laid the groundwork for performance variants that would eventually compete in endurance racing. Its platform, robust and capable, became the foundation for various racing adaptations. The car's success in blending comfort with high-speed prowess made it a favorite among privateer racers looking for a competitive yet refined machine. It was also a cultural symbol. When the world was drowning in fuel crises and economic uncertainty, the V8 Vantage stood as a testament to ambition. Celebrities and royalty gravitated toward it, not just for its performance, but for what it represented: an escape, a declaration of taste, and a badge of individuality. It was seen in films, magazine spreads, and exclusive garages. The Vantage didn't just exist, it made a statement. While it had its quirks, from its hefty weight to its occasionally finicky carburetors, these only added to its character. Owners weren't just buying a car, they were buying into a lifestyle, one that required patience, care, and a deep appreciation for the machine. For many, owning a V8 Vantage wasn't about transportation, but about preservation of a piece of art. Aston Martin's dedication to performance with elegance set it apart, and the 1977 V8 Vantage was the perfect embodiment of that mission. Even today, restorers and enthusiasts go to great lengths to maintain originality, sourcing rare parts, and adhering to factory specifications to keep these cars as authentic as possible. It's not just about maintaining value, it's about honoring a legacy. The steering feel, often praised by journalists of the time, was direct and communicative. With no power-assisted steering in early models, the Vantage demanded effort, particularly at low speeds, but rewarded the driver with precise control at speed. The brakes, ventilated discs at all four corners, offered strong stopping power, especially considering the car's substantial weight. It was a car built for long distances at high speed, a true GT in every sense. Inside, the cabin was a sanctuary of leather and wood. It was unmistakably British, with toggle switches, analog gauges, and thick carpeting. The seats were deep and supportive, making the Vantage a surprisingly comfortable long-distance cruiser. Every detail, from the door handles to the air vents, felt considered. It was a machine made by people who loved cars, for people who loved driving. Under the hood, the V8 engine was more than just a power plant, it was the car's beating heart. Hand-assembled and tuned to perfection, it delivered a wall of torque that surged from low revs. The sound it made, a deep, bassy rumble that grew into a mechanical howl, was a symphony for gearheads. There was nothing synthetic about it. It was visceral, immediate, and utterly addictive. In terms of competition, the 1977 V8 Vantage had few direct rivals. It straddled the line between exotic and GT, capable of matching a Ferrari in performance while offering Bentley-like comfort. It was more expensive than a Porsche 911, but offered more power and exclusivity. Compared to American muscle cars of the era, the Vantage was more refined, more luxurious, and ultimately more capable on twisty roads. The Vantage name would go on to define Aston Martin's performance lineup for decades, but it all began here, in 1977. This car set the template: big V8 power, grand touring capability, and a distinctly British personality. It was a car that didn't just compete with the best in the world, it helped define what a Super GT should be. Even today, when modern supercars boast hybrid drivetrains, launch control, and sub-3-second 0 to 60 times, the V8 Vantage holds its own in terms of emotional appeal. It may not be the fastest car on paper anymore, but the experience it offers is richer, more authentic. It's a car that engages all the senses and demands attention. It doesn't just go fast, it does so with style and soul. For those lucky enough to drive one, the 1977 Aston Martin V8 Vantage is unforgettable. It's not just about speed or looks. It's about how it makes you feel. The rumble of the engine, the smell of leather and oil, the weight of the steering, the way it rockets forward when you bury the throttle, these are experiences that no touchscreen or adaptive cruise control can replicate. It's a reminder of why we fell in love with cars in the first place. And so, the legacy of the V8 Vantage continues. Not just in museums or concours events, but on winding roads and in the hearts of enthusiasts. It's more than a car. It's a statement of intent, a work of passion, and a symbol of what makes driving truly special.